Welcome back to Rappin' Dough. It's your man Don Bucks. This the Home of Money Conversations, and we back with another video, fam. So today, we talking about how, actually, Dr. Umar is going to be talking about how we seem to only think there can only be one. Everybody want to be the chief. It's not enough Indians. This is why we tend to not be able to work together. So I'm gonna get my perspective. We're gonna go back and forth. And yeah, y'all can leave y'all comments in the comments section about this too. So this is pretty interesting. So we're gonna get into that after this intro. Rapping dope, rapping dope, rapping dope. Yeah. So this is Dr. Umar. You know he always spitting. And the truth hurts. And we have to be able to accept the truth in order to know the origin story. Because without the origin story, we don't really know how to go forward. We're kind of moving in the dark if you don't know where stuff began. So let's get into it.
We suffer from a plantation mentality. I want to take it back to slavery. On the plantation, we all working. Cotton, rum, indigo, whatever the slave master got us doing. We out there working, sunrise to sunset, dying, breaking our backs. Once a year, the slave master would free one of us. Only one. And do you know how you got in a position for your slave master to recognize you and potentially offer you a meritorious manumission? By telling on me. In other words, you had to expose the brother who's trying to run away. You had to expose the brother sneaking off to see his wife late at night on another plantation. But they only allow one or two their freedom every year. But it's 1,000 on the plantation. So when you go through this after 20 generations or 400 years, you begin to believe that only one or two blacks can make it at a time.
Mm. Mm. See, this mindset that we have that it can only be one. Everybody always want to be the boss. And every time something tries to have some cohesiveness to it, it's always something. I ain't gonna say always, but a lot of times it's something that breaks up the situation. And we have to understand the origin story. This has been ingrained, like he said, this has been ingrained for over 400 years of how to get ahead. You got to somehow downplay, you got to somehow put yourself above your counterpart in order to get ahead. This is why we have this mentality amongst us. This dates back. So we have to know the origin story. Because if you don't know the origin story, you trying to fix things and you kind of in the dark because you don't even know how it began.
I want you to see why the jealousy is so intense. So when they see Aristotle doing this thing, coming from this conditioned plantation mentality, do you know what a lot of brothers think when they see you? They say, okay, I'm jealous of him. I got to replace him. Why you got to replace him? Not physical replacement, but in terms of success, I got to outdo him. Why? Why can't you join him? Why can't you work with him? Why can't you collaborate with him? Because we were trained on the plantation that only one or two can make it at a time. So when we see another black man making it, when I see Aristotle doing this thing, do you know what comes into my mind? I got to replace him or I got to erase him because there's no room for me. Who said there's no room for you? There's enough room for all of us. But because we've been hypnotized by the slave master, we believe that whenever one black person is making it, I don't care if it's with a new restaurant, I don't care if it's in the rap game, I don't care if it's sports and athletics, whenever we see one of us doing well, the assumption is nobody else can.
Man, if this ain't the truth, I done experienced it on a couple occasions. We have to understand where this mentality came from. It wasn't always like that. It wasn't always like that before we got brought here and put into slavery. It wasn't always like that. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one that this happened to. You trying to work with somebody, you genuine about yours. You trying to work with somebody, you collaborate, and it's always, I ain't gonna say always, I gotta get that out of my vocabulary. A lot of times, people try to one up you. Like it can only be one person shining, and it mess up the whole situation because now y'all bumping heads. They want to get the credit. Too many people want to get the credit instead of the results. And it's because of this mentality right here. We only think it can be one. Why? Because this is ingrained. This been weaved into our psyche from slavery.
It breeds the competition, it breeds the animosity, and it breeds the sabotage. There's enough room for all of us. We have to transform our consciousness from one of scarcity to one of abundance. We got to convince every Black boy and girl in Atlanta and throughout the state of Georgia, you don't have to hate on another brother or sister. You don't have to compete with another brother or sister. There's enough for all of us.
And that's what it be. Scarcity mindset. Because if you thinking abundantly, if you know who you are, right? And that's a loaded word, loaded statement, knowing who you are. You're an abundant being. So if you don't know who you are, you're going to always think scarcity. If you know who you are, that you're an abundant being, that there's no lack anywhere unless you think it's lack and you don't know who you are. That's fear. Fear comes from ignorance, right? Only reason why you're scared is because you don't know something. You're lacking information about something, so you don't know who you are. You don't know you're an abundant being. You don't know that it's enough for everybody. So you have a scarcity mindset. And you think it's only enough for you or only enough for one person to get ahead. So that right there, we got to get back to knowing who we really are. And that's for any human being, not just Black people. Knowing that you're an abundant being. So yeah, once again, scrolling through the world of TikTok, I want to know what y'all think in the comments. Why do you think we can't work together? Does this have any merit? Does this sound familiar? Has this happened to you before? Let me know in the comments. And if this is your first time on this page, on this channel, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell when I go live. It's your man, Don Bucks, and I'll see you on the next video.